This is your official WWE Money in the Bank 2020 review here on the YouTube channel. Jeff here with you. Let's just get right into the action. They had a 1-hour pre-show that took place in Connecticut, hosted by Scott Stamford and Peter Rosenberg. And we had a match on the pre-show and on the kickoff here. It happened about midway through. We had Jeff Hardy taking on Cesaro here in singles competition here. This was a match that was put together at the last minute, but this was actually a very good match. I thought both these guys told a very good story here. Hardy got the early jump on Cesaro, worked him over for a little bit, then Cesaro got his heat in for a while. He worked over Hardy, did some stuff on the outside. They teased the count out with Hardy, but he got him just before 10. Cesaro worked over Hardy for a while, then Jeff Hardy eventually does make the babyface comeback here. At one point, he had hit the Whisper in the Wind off the top rope. It looked a little bit sloppy, whether there was some miscommunication there or not. It didn't look all that exciting or that great in execution. Cesaro able to kick out of that. Ultimately, Hardy was able to recover. He actually did hit the Twist of Fate or the Twist of Fury, whatever you want to call it. And then he hit, I thought was a decent-looking Swanton bomb off the top rope onto Cesaro, and he got the win with it. So Jeff Hardy at 13 minutes and 32 seconds picked up the win here. To the surprise of no one, he was my pick, and I think a lot of people went with him. Like I said, good storytelling here. I thought both these guys told a great story here. You had two good workers here, so you know it wouldn't be bad, and I didn't think it was. They gave the match plenty of time here, and afterwards, with Hardy winning, I figured maybe we would get an attack by Sheamus or some sort of an appearance here, but he did not show up here. Shinsuke Nakamura did not come out. Nobody came out here, so Jeff Hardy got the win here at 13:32, and I thought it was a very good match. I gave the match a B. I was actually pleasantly surprised, and I couldn't really find too much fault with it. Now, I will say that Jeff Hardy, I think, has lost half a step. He looked a little slower here, but I don't think that hindered him at all in the match. But you can tell he was a little bit slower here. The main part of Money in the Bank opened up with the SmackDown Tag Team title Fatal 4-Way match. We have the New Day, The Miz and Morrison, the Forgotten Sons, and the Lucha House Party in the match here. My thoughts on this, each team got a chance to shine as this went on. One of the big spots in the match, it was one member of the Lucha House Party, and I think it was either Miz and Morrison. That member of the Lucha House Party gave the Spanish Fly to either Miz or Morrison, whoever it was, and then they did that off the top rope to the outside. And they did the deal where they had all the guys gathering around here, not practicing their social distancing, of course. They had them all standing around on the outside to catch them, and they did the bowl over effect here, which, I've never been a big fan of that. It just kind of looks silly the way they do that here. So each team gets a chance to shine. The Forgotten Sons look pretty strong here for a while. They dominate for a bit. We get late in the match here, and they do a deal on the outside where Riker, because this is a no disqualification match, Riker, I think, I believe it was a member of the New Day out, or whatever it was, and the referee actually ejects Jason Riker from the match, which I don't know why, because it's a no disqualification match. Jason Riker has every right to get involved here, so that was kind of baffling. But ultimately, in the end, the New Day is able to rally here, and they hit the final hour, or the midnight hour, or the up, down, down, whatever you want to call it, on, I think it was Dorado of the House Party, the Lucha House Party, and he got the win with it. So at 12 minutes and 2 seconds, the New Day successfully defended the titles, as I expected they would here. And to have one of the members of the Lucha House Party take the fall was pretty much expected. That's the only reason why they were in the match here. So the New Day winning here was not a surprise. I gave the match a C. I thought this was pretty much a basic, average run-of-the-mill match. Next up, we had R-Truth taking on MVP here. This is, again, something that was announced very late here. So both guys come out here. R-Truth and MVP do some comedy, and I'm using that in air quotes. R-Truth's talking about basketball here. I think they're making some indirect references to The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan documentary that's airing on television right now. So that's kind of what they were getting at here. Then we hear Bobby Lashley's music out, and sure enough, he does come out. No Lana with him here. So Lashley comes out. He tells MVP he'll handle it, and he'll give MVP the night off, who's, by the way, wearing his gimmick here. He's wearing his gear. So Lashley takes MVP's spot. R-Truth wants to bail. Lashley's having none of it. This was just a squash, a waste of time here. Lashley dominates. R-Truth, I think it's one hope spot in. Lashley wins at 1 minute and 44 seconds with the spear. I did pick R-Truth the win because I thought it was going to be R-Truth and MVP legitimately. So Lashley won here. I gave this an F. There was absolutely no reason why this needed to happen at all. Next match was the SmackDown Women's Title match. We had Bayley, of course, with Sasha Banks taking on Tamina here. They had interviewed Bayley and Sasha backstage. I think it was Kayla Braxton before they went out for the match here. Trying to play up that friction. At least that's how Kayla was doing it here. Clearly something's going on here. So they had this interview. Bayley's confident. Sasha's confident that Bayley's going to retain. So we go to have this match here. Bayley and Tamina here for the SmackDown Women's Title. This was not a very good match. Very slow, a lot of plotting here. Bayley did everything she could here to try to carry the match. Tamina shows off her dominance and her power here for the first part of the match. Bayley does get some of her heat in here. They work over, I believe it was the left knee, left leg of Tamina for a while here. Sasha really never does get involved physically. She does the verbal stuff, but really never does any physical things here. Tamina's able to make her comeback here late in the match. They did a spot where I think it was Bayley. I believe it was Bayley who was thrown over the announce table into the area that she got launched here. Tamina just going after her, super kicks and all that. And looks like Tamina has the match won. She actually had hit the Samoan drop on Bayley. Looked like it would have been a 3 count, but Sasha Banks partially went into the ring here to get her attention. Not a disqualification here. Tamina being the dummy that she is, she goes out of the ring, goes after Sasha. Sasha gets in the ring after being chased. Bayley then catches Tamina with a god-awful looking crucifix. It was not executed well. It was sloppy. In all honesty, Tamina's shoulders were up on the crucifix, but referee Jess Carr counted it, and that was it. So Bayley, at 10 minutes and 29 seconds, retained the women's title here, as expected here. Not a big surprise. This was not very good. I gave the match a D+. Bayley did everything she could, but this was not good at all. This was just very sloppy, very slow, very plotting, and I just didn't like any of this. Next up was a WWE Universal title match. Here we had Braun Strowman defending the Universal title against Bray Wyatt. This is not the Fiend Bray Wyatt. This is the red sweater Mr. Rogers version of Bray Wyatt here. So they go on to have the match here. Braun Strowman's all over Bray Wyatt for the first part of the match here. He's just going to work on him, having his way, using his power on him. At one point then we see Huskus the Pig make an appearance from inside the empty performance center here, and that was basically the turning point there for a while. Bray Wyatt ultimately gets his heat in. He goes after Braun Strowman. At one point, he actually gave him Sister Abigail, and they tried to go for a false finish there, trying to catch people off guard, thinking that would win the title. I knew it wasn't going to, because I knew what they were doing here. Strowman wound up kicking out just before 3, and then they eventually worked to this deal here where we have both of them in the ring, and Strowman ultimately does put on the black sheep mask here, again, trying to fool people into thinking that they're going to reunite. They try to play it up here. All the members, all the puppets from the Firefly Funhouse make an appearance to cheer it on. They actually do embrace and hug. But I think all of us knew where this was going. At least I knew where it was going. It was all a trap. Ultimately, Braun stumps on the mask, and then he just goes after Bray, caught him with the big power slam, and won the match at 10 minutes and 44 seconds. So we had the false embrace there. I didn't like this match. Again, this was another slow plotting match. It didn't do a whole lot for me here. Not a lot of scientific stuff here. I gave it a D+. I really did. I did not think this was good either. So Braun Strowman retained as I expected he would. So really, so far we've not had any big surprises. So let's continue on here. The next match which was the final live match on the card, was for the WWE Championship. We had Drew McIntyre defending that title against Seth Rollins, the Monday Night Messiah here. This I thought was an outstanding match, as I knew it would be, because we had two good workers here again going at it. Much like the Jeff Hardy Cesaro match on the kickoff, we had two very good workers here, and I thought these two delivered. Back and forth action here. Both guys get a chance to shine here. Rollins' work, whether you like his work as a heel or not, his work in the ring has been outstanding. McIntyre is outstanding here, so back and forth here for a while here. Looks like Rollins has the match at one point. He had hit the stomp, but McIntyre kicked out just before 3. And then, but ultimately, McIntyre makes the babyface comeback and ultimately wound up hitting a Claymore kick on Seth Rollins, and he got the win with it at 19 minutes and 24 seconds. Very good storytelling here from these guys. This was great. This was easily the best match on the entire show here. Very good stuff. And again, afterwards, I'm thinking maybe we'll get an attack from maybe Buddy Murphy. Maybe one member of the AOP will show up. We don't get anything here. Nobody comes out here. And then, sure enough, Drew McIntyre actually extends his hand out to Seth Rollins for him to shake his hand and to congratulate him on a good match. And sure enough, Seth Rollins actually does shake his hand. There was no attack. There was nothing sneaky here. No foul play here. And that was what happened. And that was it. Nobody came out here. And that's how all it ended. So McIntyre left still as the champion. At 19 minutes and 24 seconds, I gave the match a B+. This was easily the best thing on the entire show. Just great stuff overall, I thought. So we had that. The final thing on the show was the men's and the women's Money in the Bank ladder matches here. There was rumor and discussion and maybe they would interplay this throughout the entire card, but they did not do that at all. They actually saved it here for the end. This was obviously taped here in Stamford, Connecticut a few weeks ago at Titan Towers. So for the women here, we had Nia Jax, Asuka, Shayna Baszler, Dana Brooke, Lacey Evans, and Carmella. For the men, you had Daniel Bryan, Aleister Black, Rey Mysterio Jr., Baron Corbin, Otis, and AJ Styles here. So clearly, there was no commentary for the match once it got going here. I mean, Michael Cole did announce the participants respectively here going into this. But once it got going here. The women actually started in the lobby there at Titan Towers, and the men actually started in the gym at Titan Towers. So, so they go on here. Everyone's going at it here. Of course, the object is to work your way up the building, up to the roof to try to get to the ladder and up to the briefcase. I don't know. This was, obviously clearly edited. There was a lot of jump cuts here. I don't know. It was one of those things. Was it enough where you can sit and watch it? Was it terrible? No. Was it great? No. They did go for some cameos here. They tried to do some comedy. Some of the people who made cameos here included Bruce Pritchard. We saw him. He was in his Brother Love gimmick here, coming out of the bathroom. That tells you all you need to know here. At one point, we see a guy in a boardroom here dressed as a clown. We don't know who that guy was. At least I don't know who it was. Then we later on see Stephanie McMahon in one of the boardrooms here. She, I guess, was addressing Dana Brooke, who had grabbed the briefcase, but Stephanie told her that the briefcase was up on the roof. We really never saw Dana Brooke again, and then she told Dana to clean up because Nia Jax was drooling, which, got a little bit of a laugh, but, it was just kind of there. And then we see Paul Heyman in this makeshift catering area. We have the men and the women eventually all catching up to each other here, and we see Paul Heyman at this catering table here, and you all knew where this was going here. Otis starts a food fight, and all the men and the women get into this food fight. I believe it was Otis or one of them that actually hit Paul Heyman with some food, then which led to a food fight. It was just kind of there. We've seen food fights before. I didn't think this was all that exciting. And then so they will continue on their way, and then we actually see Johnny Ace, aka John Laurinaitis here. I think Otis was in another part of the dining area, in the kitchen area there in the cafeteria. We see John Laurinaitis here coming up on this scooter. And of course, Otis was there, and he gets smashed in the face with a pie, does Johnny Ace by Otis. So, power to the people. Not really. So, we had that. And then a little bit later on here, I believe it was Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles. They were having some action here, and they worked their way into an office. It turns out to be Vince's office. And sure enough, Vince McMahon does make a cameo here, as a lot of us, I think, expected here. Again, he looked very old here, I thought. But, what was one thing that really surprised me? He was actually wearing blue jeans. That caught my eye right away here. Now, I know he used to wear jeans when he was actually wrestling in the gimmick, in his actual matches he wore black jeans, but actually to see him wear blue jeans here, just kind of out of nowhere, I thought that was kind of surprising. I never seen that before. Besides, I don't think so. And then at one point we see a random custodian guy with Asuka, so that was basically all the cameos we had here. So eventually they all start working their way up to the roof here. We get just towards the end of it here. The women's portion actually ended first. The three women that made their way up turned out to be Lacey Evans, Nia Jax, and Asuka. I don't know where the hell Shayna Baszler was. Carmella and Dana Brooke, I mean, nobody really suspected they would win. But where the hell was Shayna Baszler at? She just kind of disappeared and was nowhere to be found the rest of the way. So ultimately, Asuka's able to fight off both Nia Jax and Lacey Evans. She does a deal where she knocks Baron Corbin off the ladder and actually grabs the women's briefcase at around 22 minutes. So Asuka winds up winning the women's portion of the Money in the Bank ladder match, which was a very surprising thing here, and I'll talk about that here shortly. A bit of a surprise. So the men's action goes on for a few more minutes here. Eventually, they start working their way up. I think pretty much, I believe every guy ultimately worked their way up, and they were all battling here. They did the big fall spot here, as a lot of people were predicting they were going to do. It turns out that Aleister Black and Rey Mysterio Jr. were the one that took the, quote, fall off the building, even though they did not fall off the building. Baron Corbin was the one who did the honors to them, so they were the ones that took the fall here. But Corbin did not win the match. Corbin was my pick. He did not win. It turned out to, they did a deal towards the end here. It was down to AJ Styles and Corbin. They were battling for it. They get knocked off, or Corbin gets knocked off. AJ has it, but he fumbles the briefcase down to Otis, who just happens to catch it, and he is declared the winner in about 27 minutes. So Otis wins the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, which I did not see coming. I don't think very many people at all saw coming. So that was it. So Asuka won the women's portion, and Otis won the men's portion. I have no idea why Shayna Baszler didn't win this. This was shocking that she did not win. I hate to say this, but her run on the main roster is over. It really is. This was an opportunity. She should have won this and gotten her rematch with Becky Lynch. It's not to say that she may not, but clearly they're going back to Becky Lynch and Asuka again. I guess they're rewarding Asuka for all of her good work during this time, but Shayna Baszler should have been the one winning here. And as far as the men's, the thing is, the reports are is that Vince McMahon is a big fan of the Otis character here, so that's why I guess he's getting the big push. And the question is, where is his tag team partner Tucker at in all this? We haven't seen him in quite a while now. Seems like they're kind of phasing him out, and Otis, they're trying to make Otis into this big star. Look, Otis is not winning the title at any point, so they're trying to go for a feel-good moment, but I just don't think they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna have Otis win the title. I just don't see it. They're not gonna have him win the WWE Universal title. Just not a chance. So that was it. As far as the combination ladder matches here, I gave it a C minus. I don't know. It was not terrible, but I thought it could have been a lot better. As far as the way they filmed it, I don't know. I was not a big fan of that. I was thinking more cinematic. We didn't really get. I didn't think we really saw that here. Considering they were up there for many hours doing this, and we only got about 27 minutes of action here. I don't know. I was kind of left disappointed. I thought this felt kind of flat, in all honesty. So, but that was it. That was the show, and the show ended by about 9:25. So they were off the air very early, which is not bad. I'm not faulting that, but I don't know. I thought the ladder match here with the men and the women just kind of fell flat to me. I was expecting more here. Maybe my expectations were a bit high here. So that's it. That was Money in the Bank that took place from Stamford, Connecticut, and Orlando, Florida. Now on to my official report card grade. My official report card grade for WWE Money in the Bank 2020 is a C minus. I've had a number of people tell me that I do grade very hard, and you know what? I have to grade fair. I grade the way I see it. There are certain things I look for in each match, and if I don't see them, I have to grade accordingly. I give it a C minus. I bumped it up from a D plus because of it ending early, so that was enough to nudge it up. there were definitely some good things on the show, but there were more things that were disappointing than I thought could have been better. So my official overall grade for WWE Money in the Bank 2020 is a C minus. Let me know down in the comments section below if you agree with my grade, and let me know what your favorite moment from Money in the Bank was. We'll see you the next time with the next review here on YouTube. Bye for now, everyone.